Happy Thursday, everybody. Good evening. Come on in the room. Happy Thursday, everybody. My name is Dr. Mitzi Joy. I am a board-certified neurologist and MS specialist, and my goal is to empower, educate, and engage people living with MS and those affected by multiple sclerosis to become advocates for themselves and for their family members. And tonight we are listening to Lettucey. I'm feeling really upbeat. I love Christmas music. It is one of my favorite kinds of music. And so we're jamming tonight. So I'm just gonna give a few minutes for people to come in the room. I know it's rainy outside here in Georgia, but I have definitely got the sunshine. So I hope that everyone is preparing for a wonderful holiday season. As I am, I'm really excited about the holidays. I have small kids, and we're just having a blast, just doing things like moving our little elf on the shelf. Let me make sure nobody's listening. No little ears are listening. But we're just so excited about Christmas. Hi there, Becky. How are you? Thank you for tuning in this evening. We're listening to Lettucey. She has one of the most amazing Christmas albums. I love Lettucey. I'm just going to tune it down a little bit. Okay, before it gets too hype. So anyway, all right, well, good evening, everybody. As I said, I'm Dr. Mitzi Joy Williams. I'm a board-certified neurologist and multiple sclerosis specialist. And my goal is to educate and empower people living with MS to become active parts of the healthcare team. I also want to work toward increasing diversity in clinical research and clinical trials, because it's really important for everybody to be involved and for everybody to be counted. And finally, one of my other goals in life in general is to do some work toward integrating my two favorite subjects, which are music and neurology. So tonight, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and talk just a little bit about music and the brain, right? So you may say, Dr. Mitzi, what does music have to do with MS? What does music have to do with health? But I think music is so important, and I think it has so many effects on our health and our well-being in our lives in general that I think it's worth talking about. And I also love talking about music because I'm a singer, and I've been a singer for many years, and so I've just seen the transformative power of music and how it can affect so many aspects of our lives. So I would ask, is there anybody who doesn't like music? Now, I know that we all don't like certain types of music, but I venture to say you'd be very hard pressed to find someone that likes absolutely no form of music. Music is a part of our lives. It's ingrained in us. It's been a part of many cultures from the beginning of time. And I think that one of the amazing things about music is that now the health field is learning more about the science of music, how music affects the brain, and there actually is now a discipline of music therapy that's called neurologic music therapy, where they're actually looking at neurologic diseases to see how music therapy may improve quality of life for people with different neurologic diseases. So if we think about it kind of in a broad sense, we know that music is powerful, right? Have you ever listened to a song and it automatically transformed you back to where you were at that point in time? For instance, a lot of times I'll be out hanging with some of my girlfriends and we may listen to, an old school radio station. Old school is relative, right? So, for some people, old school is the 90s. For some people, it's the 80s, 70s, etc. But have you ever been in the car, either with your friends or with someone, a family member, you hear this song, be like, oh man, I remember that song. I was at a party, when I was in college, or I remember when I first met, my spouse or a significant other, that song was on. And so music has the power to activate memories, right? Which means that it activates certain parts in our brain. And there are different types of MRIs, and I know that those of you who have had MS have gotten MRIs before. But MRIs, there's a experimental type of MRI called a functional MRI, and there have been studies where scientists have looked at the parts of the brain that are activated when we listen to music, and music can literally activate almost every part of our brain, which I find extremely fascinating. So basically, music can activate memories, right? So we know that it activates memories because you hear that song, you say, oh man, and I see all kind of memes on Facebook when people hear a song and they say, you remember that song? And we did this and we did that when this song was on. So we know it activates memory. So what else does it activate? It certainly can also activate emotions, right? Hi there, Tony. So music also activates emotions. So have you ever heard a song and like, oh my God, that made me so sad, or that made me happy? Or when I was listening to Lettucey a little bit earlier, it's really upbeat and it makes me excited, right? So music has the power to activate different emotions. For some people, it's sadness, but even sometimes sad emotions when we listen to music can allow us to work through things and kind of heal through different processes or issues that are going on in our lives. But often if music is upbeat, it can put us in a better mood. There have been studies that have looked at the effects of music when people are working and suggest that music can make some people more productive if they listen to music that they like while they're working. We think about surgeons in the operating room. Oftentimes when they're concentrating, they may listen to certain types of music that may help them to work more efficiently, right? Music to turn up to study when I don't want to do it. Exactly, right? So sometimes if we want to study, we listen to certain types of music. Now, there was like this whole theory about Mozart, and everybody had to listen to Mozart, and everybody had to have their babies listen to Mozart. So, a lot of that, has been refuted. So you don't necessarily have to listen to Mozart. It is suggested that if you're studying, it's better to listen to music without lyrics because sometimes the lyrics can be distracting. But certainly the type of music that we listen to and that we enjoy is different. And it certainly can have those positive effects and get us motivated, right, to do things that we don't want to do. Like last week, I cleaned my son's closet out, which was not an easy task. And I had some good music on, and it kind of got me motivated to move around and clean up. So music can motivate us, right? So it can affect our memories, or bring up memories, or activate memories. It also can affect our emotions. It can motivate us to get up and do things that we may not necessarily have wanted to do. There is a lot of research looking at music, especially in young children, right? So there are benefits to people who are engaged in music, who are singing, who are playing an instrument. So some studies suggest that if a child begins to play an instrument before the age of and music makes you speed in your car, it can make you do that too. So there are some people, there are some studies that suggest that for children, if they start playing a musical instrument before the age of 5 and they play it for 4 years, it can have very long lasting effects on their brain. It can improve their motor skills. It can improve their cognition or their thinking. And sometimes those effects can last up to 40 years after they stop playing if they play at a younger age. So music can actually rewire our brains, right? So many people who are professional musicians may have a little bit more of what we call cognitive plasticity, meaning their brain can be more resilient to change because the brain has been rewired by playing those instruments. So all of that to say, it has a lot of wide-reaching effects. So what does all of this have to do with neurologic disease? Well, I just love music and I love talking about music as part of it, but it does have to do with the brain, right? It's very fascinating that music activates so many different parts of the brain. So as my senior project, when I was a resident at the medical college, I actually did a presentation. We call it grand rounds, if you've ever heard of it. That's when all of the doctors come together and somebody gives a presentation and people ask questions. So to graduate, we had to do a grand rounds, and my grand rounds was actually on musical disorders in neurology. And it's very fascinating because one of the primary things that neurologists deal with is stroke. And there are certain types of stroke that can affect our functions of music. But the fascinating thing is that if a person has a stroke on one side, their musical functions or their ability to recognize or understand music is not completely eliminated. So there are some people who have strokes where they will have, a difficulty recognizing music. So let's say you played a song like Happy Birthday. Let's say you played it on an instrument or you sang it. They wouldn't recognize it. But if it was a common song, you would say, can you sing Happy Birthday? They'd be able to sing it, and vice versa. And then there are also disorders. There's some forms of seizure disorders where people can hear music repetitively. And then there are also what we call dystonias, where people who play an instrument, the repetitive movement of playing the instrument will cause their hands to kind of freeze and abnormal function. So, music has so many far-reaching aspects. And finally, just talking about this area of music and neurology, which is called neuromusicology, and a form of music therapy, which has been primarily used in autism. It's very fascinating to find that music therapy is now being applied to many different aspects of medicine, especially neurologic disease. So music therapy is being applied to diseases like Alzheimer's. Because music can activate memory, sometimes music therapists can work with people with Alzheimer's, and people who may not be able to speak may be able to sing and interact when they hear familiar music, and it allows them to kind of wake up and be interactive, and also allows them to, relate to other people. Also, music has been used in developmental disorders such as autism, forms of autism, to help with language and communication. Music is also being looked at in forms of stroke. As I said, remember, there are some types of strokes where people may not be able to speak necessarily, but they may be able to sing certain things. Hello from Texas. So people may be able to sing certain things, although they may not be able to speak normally or communicate normally. And I think the other thing is that it is very well recognized that music has a very healing power in our bodies, right? So think about meditation, right? There are all kinds of apps. I have several on my phone that have meditation music. And if you listen to certain types of music, like if you're at a spa, it helps you to relax. Certain types of music can decrease your blood pressure, can decrease anxiety, can decrease mood disorders. So it has very, very wide-reaching effects. Even if you look at intensive care units, oftentimes there will be someone there playing instruments. When I was in Augusta at the medical college, we often had a musician who would come in with a harp, and they would just play for certain periods of time to try to help decrease, people's stress and anxiety. And also, my daughter recently had to have a procedure as an outpatient in a surgical center. And when we went there were people who came around, and they actually were clowns. They were really cool. But they would play the ukulele, and when the children were upset, they would come and play music to calm down people, even in medical settings. So I think that this is very important, and I think that it is becoming more and more of a recognized topic scientifically, right? So we kind of know these things intuitively. There are many books that have been written about it. People kind of know that music affects your emotions and has all these, positive benefits, but I think that, it is now more so coming to the forefront in the discipline of science, so that scientists understand the importance of music and the importance of music therapy. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys today. That was what was on my heart and what was on my mind. I didn't have a particular topic about MS, but I love music, and I also wanted to explain why I'm always playing music at the beginning of each of my broadcasts, because it's such an important part of our everyday lives, such an important part of our healing process, and such an important part of our overall health. And so I think that that's important to stress, and I'm looking forward to working more closely with other initiatives to try to bring this more to the forefront, especially for people living with MS, because I think there's so many benefits that could be experienced from music therapy. So anyway, that's all I have for tonight. It's short and sweet. We're getting ready for the holidays, and I'm actually about to go and record my audio book. My book, MS Made Simple, is going to launch on January 22nd, which I'm super excited about. And I hope that you all will join me for my online launch, and there'll be more information about that to come. But I'm actually going to head to the studio to record my audio book tonight. So I just had something short and sweet to share with you guys. I hope that you are enjoying enjoying the holidays. I hope that you have an amazing holiday season and a very, very happy new year. I probably will not broadcast next week since I will be recovering from the holidays with my family and we'll be traveling out of town. But I look forward to seeing you all in the new year. And please feel free to drop some topic suggestions on my fan page here or on IG. Please follow me on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook, Dr. Mitzi Joy, MD, DrMitzijoi, MD. And I also look forward to seeing you guys in the new year and telling you more about many of the projects that I'm working on. I'm very excited about the things coming up in the upcoming new year. So you guys have a wonderful night, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. Same bat time, same bat channel. Listen to some great music to get those moods up, especially after we have to take those Christmas decorations down next week, which I'm not looking forward to. So I will see you all soon and look forward to speaking with you in a couple of weeks. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and I hope that you all have a wonderful holiday season with family and friends. Good night.